What's good, y'all? My name is Jordan Barber, and today is Financial Friday, and we're going to be talking about business principles and understanding principles and not just making money itself. First thing at hand is understanding the now. So when I say understanding the now, I'm referencing history because history explains the now, you know what I mean? So, for example, if we use internet as an example, when it came along in the late 90s, internet was scary. No, I don't want this. No, I don't need this. I don't want this as part of my life, da 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 da. But if we realize the impact it had, it's the same impact that social media had and the same impact that's coming along with AI. Because as you see, everybody is like demonizing AI. It's going to kill the world. Yes, it may kill the world, but for right now, while it's not killing the world, it's going to innovate the world, and there's no way to get around it. Like we use AI now, even though it might not be the extreme AI that we're thinking about in terms of the helper coming down the kitchen and getting our stuff, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But it's still a part of our day-to-day lives. Siri, Alexa. Just stuff like that, because I use it at home every day. Alexa, what's the weather outside? You know what I mean? So like realizing it's gonna affect our lives positively, but don't have a one-sided mind for it to be only positive and only negative. You know what I mean? Innovation through history. So even when it comes to even older than that, every historic moment has something to tell us about the present. So understanding the history in terms of how it's affecting us now, and then innovation. What I mean by innovation is, what's a good way to explain innovation? What we're trying to do with marketing. Like, social media is the new TV. TV at one point was, we can't do TV because I don't want to do that, and allowing our emotions to get in the way of growth. And that goes with us not wanting to be vulnerable to it and being either a yes or no person rather than being a maybe person. So understanding that we have to say maybe and not just no and not just yes, so we're not going into it blindly by just saying yes all the time, but we're also not allowing ourselves to grow by saying no all the time. So what we have to do is kind of say maybe so we're able to go into a yes or go into a no with a plan for each one. So when it comes to social media, that's the innovation right now. Social media is the innovation. Blockchain is the innovation. AI is the innovation. So all these things are innovations. So what can we do as people to allow these things to help us grow? What we have to do now is create a sense of taking the emotion out of it to help us continue to grow on and on and on and on. Because my big problem a lot of times was I didn't like TikTok because like I seen the effect that it had on people, like in terms of like being stuck all day and hours of their day is gone. But then I realized you're gonna be that person whether or not you own it or not. It shows who's that person. Like if I get on it and I'm gonna allow it for me to use it rather than it using me. So instead of it gathering all my data, I'm trying to gather all its data so I can use it effectively to do what it's doing to everybody else. Don't convince, cultivate. That's a key of marketing. Cause like, say we're going to an old community. Say we want to build a social media team, and we go into a community of people who don't even believe in social media, and they're like, I'm not gonna do social media because I'm an emotional person and I don't like it, so I'm not gonna use it. So they're basically no people. So in order to work with no people, you don't try to sell them or convince them that social media is better. What you do is use social media and show them numbers speak for themselves every single time. Numbers are going to speak, numbers are going to speak, numbers are going to speak. So if you just continue to show them the number, they have no other choice but to hop on board. And if they don't hop on board, they're just going to get thrown off the ship. So pick one. Again, use the trends. Don't be too far ahead of the curve because it's not going to make sense for people. but know ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Don't try to get on the boat ahead of the curve, but just know what's coming along so you can prepare yourself for ahead of the curve. And also don't try to be behind the curve, because then you're gonna be stuck. So we gotta constantly be in the curve, and never too far ahead and never too far behind. Always be in the curve. Football isn't trending right now. Dancing in front of a phone is trending. So that's what they want to see, people dancing in front of a camera. And I feel like the trend, we gotta learn the trend. And the trend right now is the phone. The phone is the new TV. The TV was the radio, and the radio was the newspaper. So that's where we're at right now. The second principle is team building. And with team building, I wanted to emphasize how to build a team from scratch and learning different forms of currency. Because like when you think of currency, you think of money. But in our reality, there's different forms of currencies. Mainly attention. That's the one I want to hone on to. But there's understanding that there's more than just time is a form of currency, attention is a form of currency, and money itself is a form of currency. So now that we don't have the money to just be given everybody to build a team, we have to build attention through social media and things of that nature for us to pay people with the attention. If you come work with our team, we'll put the spotlight on you, so now that you're able to make money through gaining more clients through that spotlight. So that's the way of manipulating social media for our good. So understanding that there's different forms of currency, and attention being the main one, because that's all people want right now, is attention, 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 attention. That's why phones and cameras are so big right now. Like my fiance will literally go to look something up on TikTok. Like that's her search engine. You know what I mean? Can you make some like Creole pasta tonight? I want to try that. Instead of going to Google how we used to, or even we're not gonna go in a cookbook, we go to TikTok, how to make Creole pasta. That's social media has become a search engine. Like everything, YouTube has become a search engine. You can find out, you can build a car on Google, on YouTube. All these different things have become a new search engine. So we have to find out how to use these, again, to our advantage instead of it taking advantage of us. Our goal as a team is to build traction on whatever name that we want to use to pay other people with. Next, we're going to talk about specialization. And specialization is a concept that came from the Bible, because in the Jewish community practices this a lot, and that's why they're so successful in the whole thing, because people hate on them so much, but what is there to hate? They're doing what they need to do. So when it comes to specialization, it's allowing everybody to operate in their gift rather than, like we said, everybody trying to do everything. Exactly. Like you like cars. So if I want something to fix about my car, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you my car. I'm not gonna try to get under the hood of my own car and fix the car if I don't know how to fix it. And that power makes all of us want everybody to do better. Because if you think of it, I want you to be good at doing your car so you can help me fix my car. You want me to be good at doing whatever I'm good at doing so I can do it for you. And you want him to be good so he can do it for us. So it creates a constant love and communication, which becomes a principle of a system. And systems is what builds communities. Because you have to things have to be able to run without you there. It's like a interdependence. I depend on my circle to keep us going all day, every day, and not, like we said, we're talking about the war chest, and not depending on everybody else. So that's also a part of team building when it came to like the currency, but we also have to understand specialization. And then I wanted to talk about chemistry and unity. So it's gonna become so much that instead of it being three people, it's gonna be three people with one mind. And once it becomes that one mind, it's gonna be like water flowing. Allowing creativity to happen based on that person's gift rather than forcing something that's not their gift on them and trying to stuff them into that role. It never works. It's gonna be like putting a triangle into a circle. It's gonna force a spirit of rejection because they're gonna reject what you're trying to get them to do because they don't want to do it. The analogy that I gave was the right brain, left brain analogy. So one side of the brain is for creativity and the other side of the brain is for thinking and processing things. What we have to do is none of us have to do both at one time because it gets way too hard when you're trying to do both at one time. What we have to do is if you're being creative in that moment, then I need to think for you. And if I'm being creative, you need to think for me. So you're not trying to do both and it's hindering you from either being creative or from thinking. Right. So give each other organization to our creativity. The next point I have is working smarter, not harder. So it's super cliche, everybody hears it, work smarter, not harder, but do we really understand what working smarter and not harder is? So this is the financial principles of money, not necessarily money. You gotta understand the construct behind why rich people stay rich and why poor people stay poor. Poor people they don't develop systems and they force themselves to have to be in that same situation over and over and over again. Rich people they put themselves in a position to be in there for a little bit, and then they build the team, build the relationships, build the minds, and build the people onto the next. Everything's working for itself. Team building for system building. Because you got to think, our grandfathers and stuff, they work hard, they didn't work smart. They worked 3 jobs and tried to pay the bills rather than making 3 systems to make the bills pay themselves. And that's what the Jewish people did. They built systems within each other, especially. They didn't outsource. They built systems within each other that caused them to have to work strategically and at their one gift. They didn't have to spread themselves thin and do a whole bunch of stuff that they don't know how to do, forcing them to waste time to try to learn how to do this rather than just doing what they're already good at. The last point I had was relationship creates effectiveness. So the more we build our relationship, the more effective we are as a team. The more we build relationships outside of us, the more effective our team is. So we have to find people, and relationship is a form of currency. So we have to build relationships to pay people for what we want them to do. So it could be our gift. I may be good at talking, so he writes a script for me to say what he wants me to say for his company because he's not good at saying it. That's the type of relationships we have to build so we don't have to keep coming out of pocket for everything. All right, so that is our Financial Friday. We talked about principles, understanding the now, team building, and smarter, not harder. So with all that, go ahead and leave a comment and what you think was wrong, was right, whatever you want to say, and hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see y'all next time.